Good evening and welcome to the 25th of April edition of Dave TV for 2011. How y'all doing out there? What's going on today? A beautiful kind of, as Tony Kornheiser said today, we go straight from winter to summer here in the Washington area. Dave's record collection today. We're saluting the Psychedelic Furs, one of my favorite bands of all time. I just love these guys. You never hear them played on the radio today, except on XM's First Wave. But I'm a huge Psych Furs fan. Love my way. Heartbreak beat. Yeah, cool stuff. The Ghost in You. What's his name? Richard Butler, the lead singer. He one of the few British singers who actually can sing with a British accent. Right? A lot of these British singers, when they sing, you can't really tell they have a British accent. But Richard Butler does. All right. Couple printy things today. Just notice this. This is the Fairfax County Times. Offices here in beautiful downtown Reston. Printed. This is owned by the Washington Post, by the way. Headline: Fairview Apartments redevelopment okayed. The only problem is they're not the Fairview Apartments; they're the Fairway Apartments. The whole article says Fairway Apartments, but the headline is okay. Whatever. What is it? The Washington Post today. Again, we don't have enough. Tony, we don't have Howard Kurtz working here anymore, so there's no column to fill the space. So we'll just put a giant effing picture on the front page of Style and hope that nobody gives a shit. Anyhow, the reliable source goons here. What did they say? Yep. So far, only one local couple will be at Westminster Abbey for the wedding of Prince William and Kate Middleman, and that's Joel and Barbie Allbritton. Joe Allbritton, of course, is the billionaire who owns Allbritton Communications, which owns Channel 7 and the Politico and TBD and News Channel 8 and all that. So we've always known that that old Joe is a good friend of Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip, or Prince Charles, or whoever. Prince Charles, excuse me. So anyhow, we've wasn't there a while back? I seem to remember a while back when a Channel 7 anchor person got canned because they made a funny joke on air about the Queen. Oh, and then the awful Examiner. Horrible paper, isn't it? Although I do like I like the layout of the paper. I think the paper has a nice, concise layout. They don't put a lot of it's a nice, quick read. Except, the actual text in it is kind of crappy. But anyhow, Washington Life will be hosting a White House Correspondents' Dinner fete, at a secret locale. Now, who cares about Washington Life other than the people who work at Washington Life, man? I don't know. I've never seen a newspaper or a magazine, a slick mag, get more press in some of these stupid friggin' newspapers and websites than Washington Life. It is, I don't know what their circulation is. It's got to be maybe 15. Jeez. But anyhow, nobody cares about Washington Life other than maybe a dozen people. Okay. Wow. The other day we did a thing on the call letters in Washington, all the radio station call letters, and we mentioned that WGAY, the old WGAY call letters on 99.5, were named after Connie B. Gay, who was the original one of the owners of the station. Well, he wasn't the original owner, but he was one of the owners of the station, and that he had changed the call letters to his last name, G-A-Y. Well, apparently that's not true. Apparently the call letters were already WGAY when Connie bought the station. So there you go. So I guess one reason he bought the station was because he liked the call letters. So anyhow, so there we go on that. All right, we got a couple of WRC radio clips for you today to play for you. So let's go to the mat here and play.
WRC, Washington, rock from the capital.
That's the old WRC 980 back in the early 70s when they had a rock format.
WRC.
And that's back when the Greaseman worked at the station.
The station of the stars. WRC, Washington. It's 3 o'clock.
That's when WRC got sold. I forget who owned them at the time. They were then became, instead of WRC when they were on the NBC days, they became WWRC, and they took on an easy listening, nostalgic format.
You gotta listen to talk.
And one of the formats for the WWRC was a talk format, of course. The late, great Joel Spivak worked there. And
you gotta listen to talk.
Okay, we just played that. Here's another one.
WRC is presenting this feature solely for entertainment purposes and does not intend, by the presentation of the material, to attest to or affirm its accuracy or integrity, or foster a belief in the subject matter.
508 here at WRC. I'm Sally Rigler, and what about it? Do you have a question that's...
Well, WMAL should run that before they run the Limbaugh show. They ought to run a disclaimer like that.
Good morning. This is Joe Spivak speaking. In a few minutes, a chance for perhaps somebody listening to this program to become a star. But first, here is the WRC News, and here is John Calhoun.
Wow. And, we got a couple others there. I'm going to stick with those for the moment. The late, great Joel Spivak, who died earlier this year. All right, folks. What we got for news? Rona. Rona is apparently out at Key 103. Rona Mensa. She's been the morning host there for many years. Worked at Key 103 WAFY in Frederick, which is currently a hot adult contemporary, kind of sounding a lot like Fresh 94.7. She's out apparently after 17 years at the station. So we'll have more on that too. We're monitoring the situation, and as new news comes in, we'll have it on DCRTV.com. And Katie Couric's going to make it official this week. She's going to say goodbye to the CBS Evening News, and that'll be a good thing for the CBS Evening News because I don't think she's been a good fit. I like Katie. She's a wonderful DC media pixie, but she ain't a news anchor. She just ain't doing some people are good at some things, some aren't. She ain't a news anchor. She needs to do a light, fluffy little show. Hopefully she'll get something on daytime TV and do something. Anyhow, News Blues, one of our friendly little sites out there that we like a lot. Mike James runs it down in Florida. He tells us that Alexandra Steele, who used to be a morning weather lady on Channel 7 WJLA, she went to the Weather Channel about 4 or 5 years ago, and now she left there, disappeared. I guess back when the channel got bought by NBC and then later Comcast. She has reappeared on CNN, so we may be seeing some more Alexandra Steele on CNN. I presume she's doing weather on CNN, but you never know. Okay. Steve Kingston. Steve Kingston owns Annapolis Progressive Rocker WRNR 103.1 FM. Apparently, we've reported this on DCRTV that he bought a Jacksonville, Florida station, WSJF. He and his wife, Patty Steele, who's a veteran radio personality. And earlier this year, they've been just relaying the WRNR signal down there in Jacksonville. Well, apparently, that station has flipped to rock and pop oldies and will go to the WYRE-FM call letters, which is interesting because WYRE-AM has long been an Annapolis station on 810. So, interesting there. All right, folks. Jeff Adams. Remember Jeff Adams? He was the operations manager at Centennial's Winshester cluster, WYNC FM and AM, WXBN The Bone. He left there earlier this month, and apparently we had reported that he's going to West Virginia Radio Corporation. Now we know what he's going to be doing there in Charleston, West Virginia. He's going to be the program director of Adult Contemporary WVAF and the classic contemporary WKAZ. So congrats to Jeff. Other big news, I think we reported this over the weekend, but might as well repeat it. Lil Mo apparently is leaving PGC. She, remember when Big Tigger got moved from afternoons to mornings to replace Donnie Simpson? She took over the afternoon gig. Lil Mo is a singer, and she's going to get back into music after a several-year hiatus, and she's got a new album called P.S. I Love Me due out this summer, which apparently she's putting the final touches on, and apparently she has gone and been erased from WPGC's website and all that. So we will let you know soon who the new permanent afternoon personality is at PGC. All right, folks. One last thing, too. Ombudsman Patrick Pexton did a column this past weekend in the Washington Post, and he slammed his own paper, saying that they got beat out during the recent Potomac River flooding by WTOP's WTOP.com. Quoted Mr. Pexton, he says, quote, "Ironic that a radio station has better photos than the Post," unquote. That's an interesting little comment coming from a newspaper ombudsman there at the Washington Post. Okay, folks, thank you for watching. This has been Dave TV for the 25th of April, 2011. And don't forget to stay tuned.